Okay, so as you can see, I have the surface really clean, and sometimes it's difficult to tell if there's any gasket. So run your finger along the actual surface, and if you feel any raised sections, be sure to get rid of those, okay? So we're going to go ahead and install the pump now. If you missed the pump removal, I'm going to link to it right here. So let's get started. All right, so the book actually says to use RTV on each surface, on each side of the gasket, but I'm going to use Indian head gasket shellac. I'm a creature of habit. This is what I've always used, and I've done countless water pumps, and I've never had leaks. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I am going to use a little bit of RTV on the threads, though. I'm not going to put it at the very end. I'm going to just come up about a quarter of an inch or so and put a little bit of RTV on there just to seal up the threads. So I'm just going to put a thin layer of gasket shellac here and on the other surface down on the engine block, and I'm going to let it set a couple minutes. And I put this in my boiler room to thin it out a little bit. And it is messy, so you don't want to get the stuff on you. Alright, so what I'm going to do is basically lay the gaskets in place, and then as I begin to put the pump on the engine, I'm going to put a bolt in the top bolt hole on each side and sort of get it finger threaded and see if we can keep that gasket from slipping around too much. Your pump should have come with gaskets. If not, you want to get new gaskets. Okay, I'm going to move the camera here real quick just to show you. Just put a little bit of black RTV around the threads, but not right on the end. So when I wind that in, it'll just create a little seal in the thread area. So let's see if we can get this pump started here. And I'm just going to snug them up because we are going to torque it. Now I'll just throw out there that I'll probably, like I said, I've done countless water pumps and I've never actually torqued any of the bolts, and I've never had any leaks aside from times when I haven't had the gasket surface properly cleaned. So, but 30 foot-pounds is what you need to do if you do want to torque it. Alright, so I'm just using a cheapo torque wrench here. It has the possibility of being off by about 4%, so that'd be 4 pounds out of 100. And that was it. It's the click type. Obviously this is going to be easier to read in this situation than a beam type, or one with a pointer and indicator. 30 foot-pounds is not really a lot of torque. Chances are, when I install these in the past, or usually, I probably over-torque them. Alright, let's put the hoses on here. This is obviously the easiest one, the bottom one. We've got this one here, which you can't really see with the current position of the camera, but it's the one I took off after the pump was removed. It's right here. It goes on an inlet right here. And then we have this one here. Okay, I probably won't show you getting all these clamps back on because it's kind of obvious. Trying to keep the video a little shorter. Alright, so let's throw on our water pump pulley here. That's just to protect the threads. on the end of the water pump. These were 10 millimeter bolts, and I don't know if I stated it on the installation, but the water pump bolts themselves were 14 millimeter. So I'm just going to finger tighten these and then hit them with a ratchet. And that way we can put our belt on to give ourselves a little bit of resistance for installing the clutch fan. So I'm going to go ahead and get this finished up, and then we'll put the belt on next. Alright, so I didn't get a new belt yet, but I'm going to, because this thing's shot, and I'll actually make a video on how to replace the belt just by itself. But there's the belt routing, so you can get that into focus. Okay, so I'm going to put the belt on next. It's actually much easier to do when you don't have a fan or anything in your way, a shroud. So let's do that next. Alright, so we know what goes around this power steering, up around the water pump on the back side, right? Goes down around the harmonic balancer, or the crank pulley. Trying to hold it in places. Like I said, we're going to have a luxury here of not having to work around the shroud. Coming up around the air conditioner. Come down around this little idler pulley here. Hopefully you can see this. Then we're going to go around the alternator. I'm just going to show you here before I tension it. Alright, so let's take a quick look here before I tighten it down. See the belt routing. Okay, and then we're going to kick this down with our 3/8 inch drive, and it's going to basically push tension out on the belt. Let's do that next. And it makes it a little easier by putting a pipe on it. Make sure it's all on in place before you let it go. Mine is not. I'm going to be doing this again anyway, so get my new belt. That's it. Alright, now that I've got a little tension on that, I'm just going to hit these bolts again, and then we'll move on to the clutch fan. Alright, let's get this on here. This again threads on like this. Alright, I think we're good on that, because actually the rotation of the engine is going to spin in such a way that that's going to tension. It's not going to spin off. So, alright, let's move back on to the shroud, I guess is where we're at. I'm just going to show you real quick while I have it out. You've got the 3 bolts across the top, one on each side here, or 2 on each side rather, one on the side of the radiator, one on the front of the shroud. You've got the same thing on the other side here. So let me get that into place. Alright, so real quick, this is that vent tube. I mentioned it on the removal, but I don't think I showed it, so that's the little clip. The last thing I would need to do is actually replace the antifreeze, and I'm gonna do that. I'm just not gonna show it. Quick little mention on the antifreeze, or coolant rather. This vehicle, as well as my Blazer, they're supposed to use Dex-Cool. If when you empty your radiator or drain it for replacing the pump, you get the green stuff, then I would just go ahead and put regular antifreeze in it. If you get an orange, or in some cases it could be like a brown color, depending on how long it's been in there, you'd want to replace it with Dex-Cool. So I can tell you my Blazer, even though it's a 2000, runs antifreeze. I haven't had a problem with it. It's been that way since I got it. This, because when I drained it, it had the orange colored antifreeze in it. I know it's got Dex-Cool in it. I'm going to put Dex-Cool in. I'm going to go 50-50 mix with distilled water. You can buy it 50-50. But so go ahead and replace that. You're going to want to run the engine and burp the hose here. Once your thermostat opens up, you let the engine heat up. Just kind of burp the air out of it, and keep checking it. Drive it around a little bit, let it cool down, check the levels, and eventually get all the air out of the system. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this video has been helpful. This is part 2 of the water pump replacement. Leave questions and comments below, and if you want to see more of this type of stuff, hit that subscribe button. Have fun.